agua. Okay. Let's hop right in because this is going to be a longer video because I'm doing a tag from Shelly. Shelly created this, Shelly Swearingen. She has an amazing booktube channel. Amazing is an overused word. She has a fantastic booktube channel. She goes over she does have reviews. She also goes over awards, like, you know, what are happening. English. What's happening when it comes to like the book prizes and book awards, but also she just has some unique, I would say, content that she puts together as far as like she had a whole thing on One Piece or whatever. Anybody remember like when One Piece was on, was it Cartoon Network back in the day? Something like that. All of that to say, she has a tag, and this tag, it's the quarter year reading tag, which this kind of goes around every year, but she came up with her own one, and I appreciated it because after a while, those questions, I've done the mid-year crisis tag before. This is not a crisis. Like, we're not having a crisis. People are so dramatic. I felt like her questions are more, I think, insightful to the person as an individual. So this is going to be a long review. She has a ton of questions. And even though this is going live the first Sunday in May, so we're definitely a little bit past that quarter mark, see this as the quarter mark of my reading, but then beyond, because I don't know if I'm going to do a middle year anything. I'm reading at my own pace. So she did tag me in this. Thank you, Shelly. And I think it'll be interesting because I think that her questions in particular, all of that to say, her questions in particular give the viewer more insight to the individual reader because these are more unique questions. So thank you for putting this tag together. That's a lot more thoughtful. No any shade to the original mid-quarter, I was going to say quarter life crisis. Well, to the like mid-year quarter crisis tag, whatever it's called. But I've been doing that for like 3 years and I'm ready to do something different. Let's hop in. Which bookish creator has influenced your reading the most this year? The person that has probably influenced my reading the most this year, not just this year, but when I started following her and she started following me, I would say mid to late 2024, Charisse, but she's over on Instagram. I don't know if she watches my videos. She's always in the comments, but we've become friends through, you know, how you can on the internet. That's the beauty of, you know, 21st century these days. When it comes to social media, you can really get to know people. It's still quite rare. Side note, despite having quite a lot of access to people, when you put yourself online publicly, you're interacting with a lot of people, or people are interacting with you, but those genuine connections are still incredibly rare, just as they are in real life. And I'm like, Charisse is actually one of those people. We become friends. We talk about stuff. We're like-minded as women. So she just has excellent taste in books. I don't know if she wants me to shout out her handle, but her account is public. So I think her account is just so underappreciated. It's a newer book account, but she's incredibly talented. She's a beautiful artist as well. So she just has excellent taste in books. And she was the one who influenced me to read Fossa. So she jokes that I ruin her reading list. She ruins mine. Is there a type of bookish content you wish creators, including yourself, explored more? I'm going to say no, because I think that there are so many bookish creators out there. Somebody is covering it. No, because I create exactly the type of content I want to create. I create the type of book reviews that I seek to read or view myself, which is one reason why I created my YouTube. I don't know if I've ever said this on my channel. The reason why I created my particular YouTube is that I was on Instagram first. I started reviewing books on Instagram, and when I first started reviewing them, they were very short reviews. I was kind of figuring out how I wanted to craft my reviews personally, and I had just come out of a 4-year reading slump. So at the end of 2018 into 2019, I was finally picking up reading again. And the reason why I was in such a slump is because I went through like 3 to 4 years of a lot of stress. Some of it was health related. A lot of it was also job related. And I just could not focus on reading. So when I picked up reading again, everything was exciting. Everything was new because when you're out of a slump, you want to read it all. It's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. So I was just dabbling in things. And so I was searching for a specific type of reviews that would determine if I wanted to pick up a book or not. And I liked those detailed, long-winded reviews that talked about themes and, gave good critiques. That is the type of content I eventually wanted to create because I wanted to put out what I was seeking, because that can be a little bit harder to find. Just, there are detailed reviewers out there. It's just, you know that I use a lot of quotes in my content. The reason why I do that is I'm not just saying it. I want to back up what I'm saying with what's in the book. So that is something that I chose to do. Also, after reviewing on Instagram, which I still do, Instagram is not what we call evergreen. It gets buried. YouTube, when it comes to book reviews, is more evergreen because there's always going to be someone who wants to search for the book. The book could have been published for 100 years. Somebody new is, what is somebody saying about this book now? And so I put a lot of effort into my book reviews. There's a process. It takes hours actually for me total to put this together, the book review. That includes reading the book, annotating the book, going back over my annotations, figuring out what I personally want to talk about, drafting, outlining the review, drafting the review, editing the review, posting it on Instagram, and then coming to sit down to record it. So I put a lot of effort, and it's like it gets buried on Instagram. So I put it on YouTube because, one, YouTube creates a different type of dialogue. It's just more conversation in the comments than you would get on Instagram. But also, I feel like I'm getting my time's worth, to be honest, more on YouTube than I am on Instagram. So yeah, that's why that was a ramble. I hope it made sense. What's a book recommendation you took from a creator that completely paid off? I'm going to have to go back to Jan Fosse, the Norwegian author. I've read 2 of his novellas thus far, Alice at the Fire, or By the Fire, I think it's At the Fire, and Morning and Evening, which a review is coming for that this month. And she was the one who really got me into Fosse. She was like, I really think that you would like this author. And so I have Septology pending. Hopefully I can get to that this year, but I feel like the door has been opened to dive into an author that is probably going to become a favorite, or is becoming a favorite. If you could collaborate with any bookish creator for a unique content, who would it be and what would you do? If I could collaborate with any bookish creator, it would be Kieran. Kieran, there's 2 Kierans. I follow 2 Kierans. You know Katie Books in Wales. Okay, it would be Kieran, because Kieran and I are chaotic in our own way, and we've been bookish friends for a time, and we become friends also, and it would be Kieran. If we were to collab, I don't know what it would be. I think it would just be chaotic. You know what it could be? What it could be. English. Kieran, if you ever watch this, if I tag you in this, I'll remember. Can we do a collab one day of our mutual hate of Ducks Newburyport? That is the type of rage I think the internet needs. And then, also, it's too funny. Like, he doesn't mind me saying this, I'm sure. His daughter is learning ballet. That could also be prime content. I could bring my point shoes. Okay. Has your relationship with the book community changed in any way this year? Yes. As much as I am very structured and diligent with putting weekly content out there, I don't actually engage much with the bookish community. What does that mean? I don't watch nearly as much content as I used to. I don't read as many reviews as I used to. Very few people am I watching their videos. It's not anything personal. It's just I'm focused on other things right now. I've kind of just honed in on my own reading, and life is always lifing outside of this hobby. And so I'm actually not watching much of anything on YouTube. I am not buying books. The last time I purchased a book was about a couple months ago now. I have a rule. I am only now purchasing a book when I'm like on a vacation somewhere, and that's my souvenir from that place. Or if I'm about to read a book and I don't own it, I will go buy it. But I am just not engaging too much with I'm just not. I'm actually have spent quite a bit of time off of social media. I post what I need to post and I often just get off, and it's really refreshing. There's enough noise in the world. And even sometimes if it's good content, it just becomes noise. One reason why I also just don't consume, all of this to say I'm ironically not consuming the content that I'm putting out there myself, is because if I know that I want to reduce my spending and consumption when it comes to books, I don't want to look at it. Because when you see it, you're like, ooh, shiny, I want that thing. You're going to be tempted to buy it. So I am eliminating temptation. Unless it's Charisse. Charisse, man. Stop. Okay. So yeah, I am just not consuming. I'm not consuming as a viewer, and I'm not consuming as far as even just buying it. Buying books. I actually have no idea what are current releases, new releases. I don't know, unless a publisher or a publicity company reaches out to me directly with something that they think I will specifically like. But I have no idea, and it's actually really, really great to not know. Trends and patterns in your reading. This is the next category. Are you reading more or less than you expected? I'm quite thirsty. Please hold. I'm actually reading as expected. My reading slowed down last year, and I think I'm kind of at that pace. I think up to this point, beginning of May, when this is going live, I'm recording this the last weekend of April. I think I've finished 6 or 7 books, which is actually more than I anticipated for me at this point. So I guess you could say maybe I'm reading slightly more, but it depends on the book. I'm not forcing myself to read if I have a day where I just can't focus because stuff is going on. Life is happening. I'm tired, whatever the case may be, or, there's just something that needs my attention. It depends on the book. Like Dr. Zhivago took me quite some time to read because that book was not easy to read. It's a dense book, but I'm currently, as of the recording of this video, and I will still be reading it by the time this video goes live, is the 4th installment of the Outlander trilogy or Outlander series, Drums of Autumn. For my edition is over 1,000 pages long. It's 1,070 pages to be exact. That is a chunker. And that's in the mass paperback. The trademark paperback is still just under 1,000 pages. Diana Gabaldon does not write short books, but I'm flying through that book. By the end of this weekend, I'm going to be just shy of the halfway point, and I picked it up 2.5 weeks ago. It's just incredibly compulsive to read. And I thought it was going to take me longer to get through. It just depends. I'm going with the flow. All of that to say, I'm going with the flow. Are you reading more backlist or new releases? Hands down, backlist. I'm reading off my shelves predominantly. Like I just previously said, I'm not really paying attention to new releases. I can't be bothered because there's always going to be something exciting that shiny, and I just can't read it all. And so I'd rather read here than to add more books to my shelves, and my reading has slowed down, and it's been slow for over a year now. So slower for me. I acknowledge that the fact that I am not even halfway through the year and I'll probably get to June and maybe have 10 books read, it's pretty good. Most people aren't reading like that. And I think that those of us who constantly who are in this reading community, the broader, realm of it, we don't always have a realistic understanding of how much people don't read. And I don't mean that in a shady way. It's not normal. That's what I mean. Like reading the amount of content or books, reading the number of books, that we see people who post about reading online and we see how much they're reading is not normal. It's not. I think we can forget that sometimes. Have you been reading books you already own, or are you still picking up library borrowed books? I read books that I own, and I do not do library or borrowed books because I always annotate everything that I'm reading. And I was saying this to a friend recently. She was like, well, why don't you do library books or whatever? Because I write in everything, and I need to hold on to a book for long periods of time, again, to get these reviews out. And especially now since I've greatly reduced what I'm purchasing, I'm now really only buying books that I know for a fact I want to see on my shelves. Classics. If they're a contemporary release, it's a good it's a good one. Like it's gone through the screening, right? I just know at this point what I do and do not want to read. So I'm just reading from what I already own. My goal this year is to read more from my shelves than what I've purchased, if that makes sense. It makes sense. What's the longest, shortest book you've read so far? The shortest book that I've read thus far, if you were just looking at page count, formatting has a lot to do with this, is probably Morning and Evening. Burping, excuse me, by Jan Fosse. It's actually under 100 pages long, and it was a very quick read for me. The longest book that I've read thus far is what I'm reading right now, Drums of Autumn. Now, by the end of the year, Books of Jakob will probably take the cake, or hold on. I'm definitely going to get to this book by the end of the year. I could throw this one in. Those are going to be the top three largest books. Again, formatting has a lot to do with that. So I think that if you were to format Books of Jakob into a mass paperback, it's going to surpass both Outlander and Game of Thrones. Have you read anything completely outside your comfort zone this year thus far? No. Not completely out of my comfort zone, no. Dr. Zhivago was not an easy read, but it wasn't out of my comfort zone. Books of Jakob is not going to be an easy read, but it's not necessarily out of my comfort zone. No. Have you noticed any patterns in the kind of books you've been drawn to this year? Oh, yeah. I mean, I like heavy hitters. I like classics. And if I'm reading contemporary lit, I still want a heavy hitter. And I have always, for the most part, gravitated towards literary fiction. I'm just not into fluff at all. I'm just not into it. I've never really been into it. Now, there was a period of time, I would say 2022, 2023, where I tried to put myself out of my comfort zone to read fluff, like the Emily Henrys of the world. And there are a couple that I enjoyed, like The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I'm keeping that on my shelf. That book is a delight to read. And it was funny. But I'm just not feeling that. I'm the type of person that I want to read things that resonate with me. And for me, taking a break from the world is reading a book that has heavy themes that I can heavily relate to. Fluff doesn't always do that for me. I'm not feeling fluffy. I just don't. The past year plus, I don't feel fluffy, right? I'm not feeling fluffy. I don't want to read fluff. You can probably tell I'm very like blinders on right now. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's something in my delivery with this video as I'm recording today. I'm just not feeling fluffy. I don't want to read it. I want to read the facts of life, hard facts of life. Have you been more intentional with your reading, or has it felt more like following whims and impulses? I feel like I've always been intentional with my reading, even when I was reading almost double what my current output is. I've always been intentional, even when I was picking up fluff, which is fluff for me. I was even intentional with that. I'm maybe even more intentional than I have been, because I have to be more selective because I know that my reading has slowed down. Though maybe in some ways I'm going more with some impulses. I'm not a very impulsive person when it comes to my reading because time is limited. So granted, one thing that I'm not doing this year, and I kind of started this last year, is I don't have this strict reading list. I picked out maybe 10 to 15 books where it's like, if I don't read anything else this year, this is what I want to read. This is what I'm going to read. The rest I'm just filling in as I see fit or as time allows. So that way I can actually assess month by month what's realistic for me. Are you on track with any reading goals or challenges you set at the beginning of the year? I would probably say yes, because it's May. I'm checking stuff off my list. I've read Dr. Zhivago. I've read The Idiot. I'm almost halfway through with the 4th Outlander. I'm starting Books of Jakob in June. I think so. Because I was realistic with my goals this year. It did, and I made them loose enough. I didn't set any, I don't know if this is a question, but I don't have a numerical goal for the end of the year. What gets read gets read. What doesn't get read doesn't get read. Have you abandoned or changed any goals? No. No. I have some books that if I can, I would love to get to them. Just a couple. There's a piece of hair, there it is. I would love to reread Howard's End, to be honest. I would love to get to Septology if I can. But if not, again, no harm, no foul. We'll try again next year. Are there any books you still really want to get to before the end of the year? I kind of just answered that. I really would like to get to Septology. I would really like to get to Septology if I can. It's a long book. We'll see. Also, let me look real fast. I would like to reread The Metamorphosis by Kafka. I haven't read that book since I was in high school. I'm 17, 18 years old. And I want to read it. I wouldn't mind a little Edith Wharton, who surprisingly I have not read yet. But yeah. What's the most disappointing book you've read? Ooh, contentious. Dr. Zhivago. I said it. The book was a challenge. I didn't dislike it. I'm glad I read it. I got a lot out of it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. And that review will be going live the week after this video goes live. It was just not I've read difficult books before. I just struggled with that book more than with maybe the enjoyment factor of it more than I thought. Which book surprised you the most in a good or bad way? A Gorgeous Excitement, perhaps, because I don't buy Cynthia Weiner. It was a new release. It was released this January. It was sent to me by the publisher this past November. And again, anytime you're accepting a new release as an ARC and there are limited reviews on it, and I'm a picky reader, especially when it comes to contemporary books, it's a gamble. You're taking a risk. And I enjoyed that book way more than perhaps I thought I would. I rated it a 4 out of 5. Have you discovered any new favorite authors? Jan Fosse. I read Alice by the Fire, or At the Fire, last November. And I just finished Morning and Evening not too long ago. So he's my new favorite. I think everybody else, for the most part, I've read Dostoevsky. I'm familiar with Gabaldon. Just thinking. I reread Animal Farm. So yeah. Have you DNF'd any books? If so, why? Yes. River by Esther Kinsky. I'm still going to review it because I read the majority of it. Esther Kinsky, I think, is actually underread. So why did I DNF River? It's too long. It's very repetitive, and I'm at page 300, maybe just shy of 300, and I have several tens of pages to go, maybe 80 pages to go, and I'm done. I got it, and I kind of flipped through the rest of the book. She's not changing anything. That book is beautifully written. I love the themes, and I will do a thorough review on it, but it came to a point where I was no longer eager to pick it up, and it was just sitting there wasting my time. So I got the drift of it. I am done with the book. I'm going to shelve it, but I adore Esther Kinsky's writing. I just think this book could have been shorter. And I was I'm ready to move on to something else. And I rarely DNF a book. What's the book that resonated with you the most this year, and why? As the recording of this video, I've only finished 6 or 7. Maybe Animal Farm. I'm going to say Animal Farm. Again, a review of that book will be coming by the end of the month because it was a reread for me. But the first time I had read it, and up to this point, and the last time I had read it up to this point was when I was 13, 14 years old. And a 13, 14-year-old, yeah, I got the gist of the book. But when you read it as an adult, you're like, ooh, Animal Farm. I'm going to say Animal Farm. I'm looking forward to doing that video review. I wouldn't say that it challenged. Nothing about it was shocking. And I read it right after I read Dr. Zhivago. So which Orwell did specifically. He was commenting on the Soviet Union. So it was perfect to read those two books back to back. Maybe it was an enhanced perspective that just comes with age and maturity. But what's the best book you've read so far this year? Again, I've only read 6 to 7. So if I had to pick, right now it's going to be Animal Farm. But again, I'm almost halfway through with Gems of Autumn by Diana Gabaldon, 4th Outlander installment. I can already tell it's going to be a 5-star for me. Like the way that I'm flying through it and I'm just enjoying it. And it's just what I need. Like I pick up the book. I don't want to put it down. I haven't read like that or read this quickly through a book in a long time. And it's almost comforting to be able to compulsively read through a book, especially a book that size. It's just fun. But it's also well written. So I can tell that's going to be a 5-star read. That's it. Those are the end of the questions. I feel like I was pretty maybe stoic. I don't know if stoic's the right word. No nonsense. I'm feeling no nonsense these days. That is all. I am going to put the questions to this tag in the description box below. Feel free to answer any of them in the comments. Or if you are watching this and you have a YouTube channel, I'm not going to go through and tag people. This is a free-for-all. You won't like the questions, feel free to do this for yourself in case you want to do this video and answer these questions. Because I think one reason why I decided to do this is because the questions are still broad enough that you could do this tag at any time of the year and it just fits. So that is all. What is your favorite book that you've read thus far this year and your least favorite? Also, feel free to like and subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram, where I get up to more bookish shenanigans. I post all of my book content there first, and I post the occasional goofy reel or meme on the Instagram stories. I've been doing that less over the past month because I've just not been doing. I just have been spending way less time on my phone. I've actually had my phone on Do Not Disturb for a month, and it's brilliant. It's great to not hear my phone constantly go off. So yeah, we're addicted to those little devices, aren't we? So I've been spending way less time on technology and it's been great. So you can still follow me there, though. All of my content goes live there first as far as my book reviews. I think that's all. I'm a little spacey. It always takes me about a video to truly warm up to. So anyway, I'm going to sign out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.